a child named Josh is shown in the beginning of the movie waiting for a well-known businessman. Josh was waiting for the businessman Carl and his wife, who came shortly after. In actuality, a new cave that was quite deep had been found by certain people. This had a river of water, but nobody had been able to determine the source of the water. And Josh has been working with his team for a long time to find out about this. Nevertheless, Josh and Carl get together, hop in a chopper, and head for that cave. Carl had spent a lot of money since he enjoyed seeing such unusual things so much. When they arrive at that cave, Carl's wife is equally taken aback by what she sees. Now, several employees were departing with their bags when they arrived at the location and made the helicopter landing. They tell Carl that they are leaving because they have learned that a terrible storm is expected to arrive in a time, and that you should likewise depart from here. Additionally, the individuals who were working within the cave with Josh's dad's crew wanted them removed as well. However, Carl has traveled thus far, he argues, so we will undoubtedly descend into this cave no matter what. 2 km below the surface, we see inside the cave. Within, Josh's dad's team continued to operate using their whole setup. An extremely skilled swimmer, a female employee, was attempting to determine the source of the water inside this cave. And where does it stop? It's so big. She was so going to take a different route today. Then, a member from Josh's dad's team observes that the female employee has grown quite feeble as a result of not getting enough sunshine. He refuses to work today because he has been working here for a number of days. Furthermore, when Carl's wife saw the cave's map, she became aware of the cave's size and depth. Carl says to Josh, "See, I'll go down before you." With a parachute to aid him, Carl enters the cave there. Carl's spouse was taken aback by the cave's splendor. Josh's dad and the female employee had ventured into the river before getting here to determine the source of the water. Swimming, they discover a new path. Josh's father feels we ought to follow this new procedure. Initially, Josh's father goes, and she got stranded when the female employee started trailing behind them. In any case, they assist her. They both arrived at a new location. At that height, they could see the sea level. But they were unable to get there, since they wouldn't have had oxygen to return if they had gone there. Just as they are about to go, the female employee's oxygen tank runs out. There was a risk to her life. Their crew is observing everything on the monitor. She would have perished en route if she had gone to retrieve the oxygen cylinder because it was so far away. For this reason, Josh's dad decides in this situation. He puts his worker's oxygen mask on after removing his own. Then, after some time, he put it on. He could breathe now that he was doing this. He couldn't swim, though, and both would have perished in this way. Josh's dad makes the heartbreaking decision to reclaim his oxygen mask from his employee for this reason. He pushes his employee off. She therefore passed away there. To witness this was to make everyone extremely sad. Even so, they were at a loss about how to proceed. Josh was incensed to witness everything, as he believes his own father is responsible. However, the other members of the squad did not believe that their leader, Josh's father, was at fault. Josh's dad had listened to what Josh had to say when he brought the female worker's body from the river. Angrily, they tell him to go. Josh had fled after hearing his father's comments as well. The cart appears above when it gets to them. A massive storm was on its way. The individuals above pack their bags and head off. All of the equipment and electrical gadgets were harmed by the intense rain. This explains why these folks in the cave below were unable to even inform them. They hear a disturbance as Josh and him attempt to escape the tunnel below. It was actually the sound of running water. They now had two options. They have to escape this cave as soon as possible or avoid the passages where the approaching water was coming from. The cave is filled with a lot of water. There was nobody there to pull their rope as they started to climb, since everybody had departed from above. A pair of them attempt to ascend. Thus, the water pressure increased to the point where they collapsed. The man who was with Josh makes it to the summit together. They had the option to leave right now if they had wanted to. But Josh responds, "No, this is not how I shall go alone. I can't let my dad get in trouble and the folks below suffer." He descends to inform them about the storm for this reason. The cave's water level began to rise as he was leaving. Water entered the cave on a continuous basis. There was Carl and his squad, Josh's father. Josh's father instructs them to take the new route. Where there used to be nothing in this cave, it is now as full as the sea. Carl and his spouse were also visiting this place and felt remorse for their decision to come. Additionally, they were forced to listen to Josh's dad. Josh's first companion leaves, and Josh was behind him. However, he trips and falls due to the water's force. His head struck a rock. Josh vanishes somewhere in the sea while he attempts to save him. Josh's father announces to the group that he and his wife have made a breakthrough. "We need to get out of that direction." Each of these 5 is dressed in their unique bathing outfit. The wife of Carl was not a proficient swimmer. For this reason, Josh's dad assures him that his son will accompany and encourage him on this voyage. They all move aside now, one by one. Nevertheless, Carl's wife became locked in that manner due to her concern. Josh reassures her, "No, you can succeed." They left that way, nevertheless. But things worsen for Carl's wife. Carl supports his spouse. Here, Carl advises against trying in this manner. "We'll just have to wait for help to arrive. They're coming to get us." This, however, could not have occurred now. Nobody was aware of this method. Josh's father asserts that we must proceed if we are to preserve our lives. Carl and his spouse are forced to listen to Josh's dad against their will. These folks were walking forward slowly. But presently, the state of a worker deteriorates. From where the stream flowed quickly, they all found a path. The water flowed so quickly that a person falling into it would perish right away. However, they now decide to use ropes to aid them traverse that path. The state of the employee was deteriorating. He comes to a stop in one location. He split up with Josh and his father in order to go through this area as fast as possible because he knew he was going to die shortly. While Josh, his father, and themselves searched for him. But they were unable to locate him anywhere. There were now just 4 survivors. They travel a little distance before Carl stops and begins to take photographs. When Josh's dad saw this, he became enraged. "We haven't arrived to any city here," he replies, taking the camera from Carl. "You caused a great deal of deaths. Now you must follow my instructions." Despite his immense wealth, Carl felt powerless after arriving here. "All right, let's go on." They needed to traverse a rock, and Josh was an expert mountain climber. That's why he hurried across the rock. Next came his father, who was arriving with Carl's wife. At that point, Carl's wife slipped, causing the wire to become entangled in his hair and causing him great anguish. Ignorant of his hair, Carl chops it off with a knife, causing it to fall to the ground and his instant death. Carl was sobbing uncontrollably after his wife's passing. But there was now nothing to be done. They all three make it to the other side. Carl is in really poor health. Josh's father remarks, "We've come a long way, based on the map." However, their oxygen supply was now limited. One guy at a time might enter the water. While Josh and his father were surveying the area, Carl made the mistake of taking the cylinder and falling into the river, trapping Josh and his father. After some time, Josh's dad discovers a path that allows him to view the jungle. Still, that was a good distance away from them. At that point, they discover a tank there. They also discovered some food in the tank. Likewise, 2 days go by. As they were returning from their previous route, they ran upon Carl, who was now seriously hurt. He was chatting non-stop and clearly hungry. See Josh and his father, and Carl is delighted. Though it wasn't true, he believed they had come to help him.